Well, you've gotten to this point. You've worked, you've saved. So why the heck aren't you out there spending your money?
Oh,
This is
Costco doesn't have all the sales this weekend. I didn't get the discount circular. And
I'm
that's
not
the only
talking about
reason.
you.
That's the only reason that my wife does not spend money in my home. She
I'm
didn't have a
not
new
talking
discount
about you.
circular.
I'm not
Oh, you
talking
weren't
about
talking?
I'm talking about our dear YouTube and or podcast viewer
Oh,
slash listener
oh,
that have
oh.
come to this place to get some more information, get some education. Education. Can I coin a new term?
Education?
Insight and education. Education.
Yeah. Well, if you do it combined, it's a little bit like engineering for retirement education. So that's okay. We
And
can
so that's
we
it.
engineer
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Education. We're engineering education
There
about
you
our
go.
financial futures here on the Retirement Solution. This is financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital. I'm Heather Branch, here to ask John about giving ourselves permission to spend. It's your money. You've worked, you've saved, you've paid into the tax and Social Security system. Why aren't you spending your money? The fear is real, Mr. Hicks.
Yeah.
Let's unpack it, shall we?
Yeah.
RetirementSolutionShow.com, by the way, the website to begin the conversation with John and his team, again, about giving yourself permission to spend. We've also got links posted in the show notes. We don't have to go in too hard about the number one fear of retirement because it's the same every result of every study, every year. It's the same thing over and over again. What are we afraid of, John?
3 decades deep. In the last 30 years, the number one fear for people getting ready to retire is running out of money. It never changes. It's never number 2 or number 3 on the list. It is always number 1. And here's the craziest piece of that. When you look at it, it's almost 100% psychology. Almost 100% psychology. Believe it or not, I sit across the table from people that have saved hundreds of thousands or millions or, no joke, Heather, tens of millions of dollars. And every one of them, even the people that have almost saved $10 million, they still think, yeah, but John, I have a few homes and I do like things and I still don't know. I don't feel comfortable if I don't have more money coming in. I don't feel comfortable that I have a license and or an ability to spend, because where else is the money going to come from?
Right.
And the crazy thing about it is that's psychological, and we can't really help some of that, right? A lot of it's the way we're raised. You know, if you look at the greatest generation, you look at some of the boomers, you know, many of them, the whole reason they had anything is because they saved. They didn't spend as much as they saved. And so many of us now we're thinking, wow, I'm going to be retiring in my 60s or maybe even late 50s, mid 50s, and I might live to be 100. There's a possibility. And that be the case, how do I make sure I don't run out of money? And there's something about it that triggers, right?
Yep.
There's a trigger, and we spaz out and we can't commit to spending. There are people that I see every day, and I laugh about it. I don't laugh. Internally, I chuckle.
You laugh kind of empathetically. It's
without
like,
question.
come on. Yeah.
And only because I've heard it so many times, Heather, when I'm sitting across the table from a couple that has done an awesome job saving, they got $2 million and they live, they live very within their means, right? And we're looking at them living off of $80,000 or $90,000 a year. It's about what they made after taxes, when they were working. And amazingly enough, I just watched them both just kind of shrivel up a little bit and like, well, can we afford a $6,000 cruise? One of the things we've been talking about for our 30-year wedding anniversary or whatever was doing this Mediterranean cruise. And it's like, it's $6,000. And my whole thing is like, you've got a few $1 million, guys. There is no reason that you don't have to just spend $6,000. You could spend $26,000, $36,000 as long as this is not an everyday occurrence or every year occurrence without any problem. And they almost look at me like, John, there's no way. But it's true, right? And there's all kinds of psychology that goes behind this. The Dow Bar study comes out every single year. And what they do is they just actually do an entire study on how do we behave when it comes to our money, right? And every single year, the same things pop up. People are fearful of running out of money, so they don't spend the appropriate amounts. They don't realize what they can spend. And we see it all the time because of loss aversion. People spaz out when it comes to loss aversion. They're so fearful that a recession will wipe them out and that there will be no money left, despite the fact that many people have Social Security coming in. They have savings that are not susceptible to risk. But somehow they throw that all out. They throw that all out. But John, you don't understand. I'm not going to have any more income coming in.
Right.
And Heather, that I think is the biggest thing that we can fix. So for the average investor that's out there that's thinking about retirement, if you had a guaranteed government pension or a guaranteed pension that came in every single month like clockwork, the reason
Right.
I know about that is because my granddad had one. My granddad had a military pension.
Three, didn't he?
He had three pensions. He
Yeah.
basically he had Social Security, kind of a pension, but
Right.
Social Security. He had a military pension, and then he had a Department of Defense pension because he was in the chief of, or he was in the Corps of Engineers. So
Yep.
he had three different pensions, and so every single month, no matter what, he had $10,000 that came in, whether he had any money in his checking account or if his checking account was over brimming. Didn't make any difference.
Yep.
So he could almost do no wrong. And here's the crazy thing. Now that's a lot of money. Not everyone can have 10,000 a month, but imagine if you had $4, $5, $6, $7,000 on top of your Social Security, your other pensions, on top of if you ever did any part-time work. But let's assume you don't want to do any work. If you had that coming every month, do you not feel that you would have a license to spend accordingly? I think most people would. But instead of looking at their big old nest egg that they've saved, Heather, and looking at all this money, they're looking at it as, oh, whoa, that's my piggy bank. That is my emergency money. That is if I want to, be able to live in retirement. Guys, no. A portion of that should probably be turned into an income source. Some people want it guaranteed income sources. You can do that. It's like a personal pension or an annuity in some situations. Other people say, I want a stable income source. And that means you can use like CDs or treasury bills or things like that. Super safe, unbelievably consistent performing asset classes. And other people say, I do want income and I want a good amount of consistency, but I want more opportunities in that. Well, that's fine. You can use principal protected notes, structured notes. You can use certain types of indexed type of accounts. Some of those you can even get indexed CDs or indexed annuities. You still get a guaranteed floor so that you can't run out of principal, but you're going to have a little bit more upswing potentially in the way they produce income. All of these things lead to what most of us are missing, a certain guaranteed or comfortable income source. Because the one thing I know is that if you know you have money coming in each and every month, most people, they're comfortable with that. They don't spaz out as much. And it helps to stifle that psychology we all experience when we're thinking, oh my gosh, but I'm not going to have more money coming in. What do I do? It's an easy fix, believe it or not, Heather.
Okay. Obviously, building an income plan, it's kind of ground zero when it comes to building a retirement plan. That's a first place to begin.
Sure.
If you have questions about how to do that at J. Hagan Capital, they can help you understand your questions, understand the options. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com or click on the links we got posted in the show notes. The interesting conversation, and we've had this one before, that's evolving out of this fear of spending is this problem. We call it a problem, air quotes, because what's happening is for a lot of people, they're ending up in their older age or end stage. They leave this planet with more money than they ever had because they didn't spend it.
I see it all the time.
Weird shift that's happening.
They get so fearful of spending money that they don't. And then so they end up being the richest person in the graveyard. And guys, I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that we can make, because it simply just tells me we don't understand how our financial plan is built. What I want people to do is I want them to utilize their money the way that they've saved it in the front end of the retirement. We call it front loading retirement, because I want people to do all those bucket list items when they're the youngest and the healthiest that they're probably going to be over the course of retirement. So I want people to think about those Mediterranean cruises in the first 3 years of retirement, right? I want them to think about, do you want to go ahead and put that wraparound screen porch on now? Right? When you can utilize it more? Do we want to make sure that we're getting a home that is all on one level and doesn't have 3 sets of stairs, upper floor, middle floor, and basement? Let's think about those things. Those are not costs, in my opinion. Those are investments into what's going to give you a quality retirement, right? So if people actually understood the game plan, because that's what we do for every one of our clients in our office, we're trying to figure out, hey, what do we want to front load? And then what do we want to take care of? Because most people, when they front load that retirement, we're stressing the portfolio in those first 3 to 5 years that they retire, Heather. And when you think about that, that does a few things. I know that we're already accommodating for that. So we don't have to worry about spending less in the future. But when would we rather have a big old mountain of money to utilize? When we're young and healthy and happy and able to use it? Or when we're 90? And frankly, the only thing that money can do other than just give it away is to give us a nicer looking gravestone, right? So I
Mm,
would much rather people utilize this money, frankly, when they would like to use it. But
yeah.
even then, even if you're going to give it where you can make the most difference. What does more to help your grandkid with a car, or to help them get into that good college that they otherwise couldn't afford, or to help them later in life when, frankly, they've already got their own jobs? They're already trying to figure things out. I
Yeah.
think it's better in the front end. And again, this is earlier in retirement. Now, the reason why most retirement or planning advisors don't do it this way is because it blows up their models if you only base it on market based investments. It does it every time. So you
Mm,
have to have a skilled fiduciary that understands, if you want to front load your retirement, which means do all those fun things in the front end when you're younger and healthier and happier and able to use it. If you do that, it causes a different stress in your portfolio, and you need someone skilled to deal with that. Not only protection and income, but the tax design and how you're transferring that wealth once you're gone. But doing that correctly puts it all together so that you can have a comfortable retirement, but still have plenty of money for inflation and plenty of money if you have healthcare concerns, because we all could have those.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
just want to make sure that our plan accommodates that. That can
Yep.
be done with the right style of advisement.
Giving yourself the freedom to spend with confidence in retirement is the goal. I have to say, pretty confidently, literally of every single person at J. Hagan Capital, if I do say something, especially that of one John Hicks. You have worked so hard to get to this point. You have done the hard work. You have saved. You have sacrificed. Now it's time for that money to work for you and let you do the things that you want to do. So let's start the conversation. RetirementSolutionShow.com is where to go to begin that conversation with John and his team. We also have links posted in the show notes. Are you front loading your retirement? Have you ever even heard that expression? Do you know how to do it? If you're working with an advisor, have they ever brought it up? Or if you're DIYing, have you ever even put a Google on how to front load your retirement, creating the income streams that you need, all while adding layers of protection so that you do have the money that you're going to need when you are 80, 90, God willing, even 100 years old? This is part of the planning process they're ready to do with and for you at J. Hagan Capital. So let's start that conversation. RetirementSolutionShow.com.